How can the Sixers and the Eagles, and more importantly, Joel Embiid and Jalen Hurts, change the narrative, change the conversation about themselves as we are about to head into 2025? The Sixers tried to reel us back in yesterday. The Eagles are been trying to reel us in all year. But there's still that narrative of Jalen Hurts and Joel Embiid. So we're going to talk about what those two people can do as we get set to move into a new year to make the narrative a little different, maybe a more positive. Trending the AM live on the STT Sports Network in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button and that share button, guys. Help us get to 500 subscribers. We're at 327 at the start of the show. We only do it by you hitting that like button, that share button, and, of course, that subscribe button. It means a lot. It helps a lot. Guys, it's free to do. It does not cost you a thing to help a local content creator continue to grow their channel. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me on all social platforms at Bearded Knowledge. And, guys, we've got 2 shows left today and tomorrow for 2024. So we got to start talking about 2025. How do we bring more positivity to Philadelphia sports in 2025? How do we change the narrative of our superstars in 2025? How do we keep ourselves engaged with these superstars in 2025? The Sixers yesterday on Christmas Day, best game of the season against the Boston Celtics with a win, reeling us back in. But deep down inside, I'm still thinking negatively about the Sixers team. Where all the positivity is flowing, it's not for me. So what needs to happen to change that narrative on Joel Embiid and the Sixers? What needs to happen to those that aren't Jalen Hurts supporters to convince them that Jalen Hurts is the man moving forward? That's what we want to talk about today. That's what we're going to start with today. Who knows where we go? The day after Christmas. I hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas day. I know I did. Spent time with my nieces and nephew, cooked a nice dinner for the wife, watched a little basketball, did a little packing. It was a fun Christmas day. Brian with the first comment of the day. The Sixers have pulled me back in. Once I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. And yeah, I feel that. Just spend 30 seconds on Twitter going through my timeline, and Sixers Nation's back. Maybe not me. Maybe not for me. But a majority of Sixers Nation, after one game, I can't do it. I can't buy back in. I mean, he played 31 minutes last night, Joel Embiid. Probably means he needs another 7 days off or something. I can't do it. But there's got to be something they can do to convince me to at least semi-emotionally get attached to the season again, to this team again, to Joel Embiid again. Turning a page is a stretch. I don't know if turning a page, changing the narrative, Marshawn, I kind of feel that there's plenty that could be done to at least change the perception of Jalen Hurts and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, it would be playing more frequently and staying injury-free and staying. You see, when the things are going well, like last night, Joel Embiid's personality is A. When things are going bad, Joel Embiid's personality is B. Stay away from the bad, emotional Joel Embiid. Jalen Hurts, I don't know how we change the narrative on Jalen Hurts. I don't even think a Super Bowl win does it, but there's got to be something. Good morning, little G. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas. It is Eagles Cowboys. We'll dive a little bit into Eagles Cowboys today. Obviously, a lot tomorrow as well. Sixers versus Celtics highlights. Phil last night after the Sixers win. It was a great game yesterday, and I watched a good portion of it. That was the most Sixers basketball I've watched since very early this season. I watched the majority of that basketball game yesterday. And it was entertaining. It was an entertaining game. And all the three stars, I mean, Paul George still didn't do much. Caleb Martin, we got the Celtics killer that we were expecting last night for the first time. His 28% three-point percentage. He got better last night. It was an interesting game last night. But one game doesn't change it for me. But is there something they could do over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks to change that narrative, Marshawn? It was the hard-nosed defense and hustle that did it for me. There was some. But, Brian, one game can change it. And I know one game, again, it's against the Celtics, and it's not one game. They are 8-3 in their last 11 games. I get that, the Sixers. And I've been paying close attention, but I know they're winning some games lately. But does last night's game, was that enough? And Brian's teetering. Some on Twitter, I'm watching Sean Bernard videos on Twitter, and Sean Bernard's doing cartwheels right now for this team. And I don't know if I'm fully back yet. Did you hear that the Sixers are championship contenders? I heard. Who said that, Mitchie Poo? Good morning, Mitchie Poo. I hope you had a great Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever. My man out there live streaming on Christmas Day. More power to you. Who said? I forget who it was that said that they're championship contenders. That was Sean Bernard, actually, wasn't it? No. I can't get behind that. I can't. All right. Late, but not too late. My man, Mr. Crockpot himself, Deeves. Merry Christmas to you, my man. How you doing today?
Merry Christmas, man. Thanks for having me on. Sorry I'm late. We're scrambling. We're okay, but we're here.
We're good. So we're talking about Sixers and Eagles kind of in theory here, and we'll keep going with the comments in a second, but I'm going to throw it to you here. I kind of feel like one game's not enough. Last night's not enough, and I know they're 8-3, the Sixers, but I'm talking about 2025. How can Joel Embiid and Jalen Hurts turn the page, change the narrative, move on, move 2024 behind them and move on? And yesterday was a step for Joel Embiid, but it's not enough, right? So what can they do to change the local narrative, the national narrative, even the narrative they have on themselves?
I don't know. Just for the Sixers, I don't think there is enough. I think the narrative is already out. Last night was the first Sixers game I've watched in weeks. And to their credit, that's the most passion I've seen them play with. When you have anytime you beat Boston on Christmas is freaking fantastic. It's always amazing to watch Celtics fans spiral. They're the most insecure fan group there is in all of sports. That was awesome. So that's worth it in itself. But obviously they need to get out of the first round. Obviously they need to get past the second round. I will say, as someone who is out on the Sixers, and I agree, that last night's win is a step in the right direction. This next stretch of 8 to 10 games is going to be absolutely massive for that narrative. But this was the first time that I felt maybe.
Maybe. You're not in the Sean Bernard group yet that's doing championship contender videos on social media, right?
There's no data enough to support that. It was their second or third game they finished together on the court with the big three, and I'm still not sold with a lot of areas on this team. They still don't shoot from three well enough. Happy to see Caleb Martin, finally get his head out of his ass. I'm happy to see him these last 2 games be a lot healthier. The Sixers wing defense was impressive. That being said, they still run too much two-man offense, whereas Paul George just relegated to the corner. Paul George offensively is still too hot and cold for me. There's still too much ball watching. Paul
George wasn't this bad last year offensively with the Clippers, was he?
Who? Paul George?
Paul George. And we're far enough past the injury. That can't be the blame. He's got enough games. I don't understand what has happened to Paul George's offensive skill set.
All right. So I do think defensively he's been pretty solid.
Yeah.
I do think him, Kelly Oubre, and Caleb Martin defensively as point of attack defenders, as guys that can provide help defense and, get in those passing lanes. I do think that's good enough. I do think they're probably 1 or 2 wings away from being real contenders at this point and at that spot. But yeah, the biggest negative right now has to be Paul George and his impact offensively. He's in a slump, man.
You can't expect Caleb Martin to drop 7 threes every game.
Right. Like
if he makes 3 threes, that's 12 points off the board right there for the Sixers. And you would expect Paul George to be capable of doing that.
Yeah, his offense is really frustrating because most of the time he's just relegated to the perimeter. But even the times they do run plays for him, he's either dribbling into space or he gets an open shot and then hesitates to shoot when he's open. I think he's too unselfish at times. I think sometimes he's too focused on trying to keep the ball moving. And that extra second he spends thinking about finding the open shooter on the perimeter, defenders have time to recover and that window's already shut. I just think he needs to pull that thing unconsciously and put the ball in the basket. The Sixers need him to score. Defensively, I don't really have that many concerns. I think it's more offensively. That's on Nick Nurse.
There was a play. You watched the majority of the game yesterday, right?
Yeah.
There was a play where he drove to the basket and he had a layup and he pulled a Ben Simmons and he kicked it out to the 3-point line. And that just to me told me he's not comfortable scoring right now at all. Rick here says consistency. That's what he needs. Like one game was great, but consistency. And that's what we need to see, right? We need to see the Sixers go out there and do it on a game by game basis. Like, yeah, I saw I know Marshawn a couple comments. There it is. 11-17. I get that. They're 8-3 in their last 11, but they do have 4. But 4 of those 11 wins have been against the Charlotte Hornets. So they're really, what's that? 4 minus 11. That's 7. All right, they're 7-17 against the rest of the NBA. So one game is good. You can build off of it, but you need a lot more than one game to really find that. And that's what they could do. I mean, because there is clearly talent on this team. So if they can have some consistency, if Joel Embiid can go a month without missing a game or maybe missing more than 1 or 2 games even, build upon something, build some consistency, it would help.
I'm pretty out on this Sixers team. I still need to see a lot more. The Jared McCain was that injury was the true nail in the coffin for me. Because that was really, like, for the most part, why I was watching them play, even with all the sloppiness and the lack of cohesion, what we saw at the beginning of the season. But I will say, if there's light at the end of the tunnel, that was the game last night. It was impressive. There's still a lot of things to clean up. But at the end of the day, Tyrese Maxey, this was the first time I said maybe you have Embiid not playing that offensive usage that we're used to seeing. You have Paul George kind of playing that 3-and-D role, and then you have the gravity of those two opening up everything else for Maxey to attack the paint. The Boston Celtics are weirdly a good fit for them. I know they were missing Drew Holiday, and that was huge. But they're a weirdly good fit for the Sixers, where that they don't really have a rim protector at Luke Cornett, Al Horford. They don't have anybody that can keep up with Tyrese Maxey. Again, Drew Holiday is not having like a banger of a season by any means. He's a great defender. I don't like the way Boston plays, but I don't also disrespect them. They just spam threes and just ISO you to death. And the Sixers have guys that can switch and keep up with those wings. They're a weirdly good matchup. And when's the last time we said that?
Against the Celtics? Maybe before the Brett Brown or even, Marshawn saying that you sound so defeated, as a Sixers fan. And Marshawn's in the same boat. I'm in the same boat. But, you are a content creator. Your content's around the Sixers, Eagles, and draft. Mine is about everything. It's a long season. But I'm still not watching their games right now. So the Sixers have from now till the Eagles season ends, whenever that will be, to kind of, convince me, Marshawn, and the smaller portion, because that portion is growing, that they maybe are for real. Because once the Eagles season ends, hopefully on February 9th with a Super Bowl championship, after that, we need something to latch onto. So what can they do over the next month or so for you so that you don't sound defeated when you're talking the Sixers?
I think it boils down. Well, obviously, stay healthy. I mean, to get into the playoff. I mean, that's like
that's number one.
And what are the odds of that? Who knows? Pretty low. Like Boston's a great example of this. Like for me, it's all about chemistry. Boston might not have the best talent or the most talented roster in the NBA. They're pretty close. But where I think there are leaps and bounds above everyone else is everyone seems to know their role on that team. They're a team that has by far the best chemistry. I respect how they destroy you on the margins. I respect how every single mistake you make, they make you pay. They pay so much attention to the little details. And, for me, if the Sixers were to make me a believer again, it's just simply chemistry and execution. I think the Sixers building chemistry and minimizing mistakes as they roll into the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, that would make me a believer again.
3 times 3 equals 12. No, I said if he made only 3 and those other 4 threes didn't drop, K1, I know you love to get me on my mistakes and my slip-ups, but I think I got this one right. I think you misheard, K1. Go do a replay. Let's throw the red flag, the challenge flag, instant replay on that one. Deep's talking Paul George or Jalen Hurts with holding the ball. We're going to get into Jalen Hurts here in a minute for sure. Imagine if this team had James Harden. Oh, my God. Seriously. Isn't James Harden actually having a pretty good season right now?
I know Marshawn's like a resident Jalen Hurts hater, right?
Yeah. Who? No, Marshawn doesn't hate Jalen Hurts. Not the biggest one. Pump Man. Brian Pump. The Pump Man is the number one hater in the chat. There's a couple, but he's the number one. They shot 53s last night. I don't know how many threes they shot, but they did shoot a lot. Get it back to 500. But that's even still a long ways away, Jose. We're still 11 and 17. We still got to be honest with ourselves. Yeah. We are still 11 and 17. That's one win doesn't solve the fact that what did they say last night? That's the third game that all three have played together. I mean, we're almost 30 games into the season. I don't think they played 3 games together. I mean,
I think I heard it right. It was their 6th game, but it was only their 2nd game they finished.
That's true. Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, it's awful. Because I guess they did play together on the 23rd, but Joel got ejected in that game, right? So, because that whole travesty, most of Philadelphia most of the world's not over that travesty of officiating. That was that game. Marshawn's right on this. If they did go and win the Super Bowl, the Eagles, we wouldn't have to worry about the Sixers because we'd be riding so high on that for so long that we wouldn't. I don't know about you. I don't know when you started creating content, but I wasn't. In 2017, when the Eagles won, I was not on the content train yet. So even in 2022, when I was doing it, I rode high off the Eagles' loss in the Super Bowl for a good month and a half.
I was mostly writing at that time. I remember writing articles about that, but I don't think I got into podcasting until a little bit after that.
Marshawn says, can anyone even beat the Celtics 4 times in the playoffs? I think that's interesting because I was looking at the standings and I forgot how great the Cavs were this year win-loss record. But for some reason in my mind, I didn't think deep about it. I haven't watched really any Cleveland Cavaliers basketball, but I still wouldn't trust the Cavaliers beating the Celtics in a 7-game series come playoff time, Marshawn.
Especially when you're battling the Celtics and the refs at the same time. It's unbelievable how the refs and Jason Tatum are in complete cahoots and he can just push off whenever he wants. That's a tough thing to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. I criticize Jalen when he's bad and I praise Jalen when he's good. Well, let's add. I mean, we're going to continue talking Sixers here today, but we're also here to talk Eagles as well. And obviously, we got a game with the Cowboys. And Adam Schefter with the breaking news yesterday on Christmas Day that Jalen Hurts didn't practice yesterday. Did you miss that tweet? Your eyes lit up there. They didn't actually practice yet. They didn't actually practice yesterday. But Adam Schefter, because the Eagles put out a what would have happened estimation practice report, he tweeted out that Jalen Hurts did not practice, so it means he's not going to play on Sunday. And it's kind of like, what the hell is wrong with you, Adam Schefter? Like, that was so bad of a tweet there. But before we even talk about Sunday's game and whether he could play or not, we're talking about changing the narrative for the Sixers and Joel Embiid. There's still obviously a very negative narrative surrounding Jalen Hurts, whether he's a good quarterback or whether he is not a good quarterback, whether he could be the quarterback that leads this team to a Super Bowl or not. What does Jalen have to do? I don't even know if winning a Super Bowl would, big picture, change the narrative of whether Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback or not. I'm not asking you if he is a good quarterback. I'm asking you, can he even change that opinion of Chase Daniels and, Dan Orlovsky's of the world and Dominic Foxworth's of the world? Like, is there anything he can even do to change that moving forward?
Just ignore it, man. Like, we know what Jalen Hurts is at this point. Like, ignore the media, the national. Like, did you heard? Kind of related. Like, Kendrick Perkins say that Tyrese Maxey is the best player on the Sixers roster. Like, these people don't know what they're like. Let's be real. Like that, Jalen Hurts. That was a great example against the Commanders of everything Jalen Hurts does for this offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I critique, just like Marshawn. Like, I will put Jalen Hurts down if I see a bad game. You watch the halftime shows, the post game shows. I call him out when it's possible. Does he hold on to the ball too long? Absolutely. I mean, there's so many quarterbacks in this league that have bad games across the board, or bad moments across the board. For me, Jalen Hurts and what he does for the run game doesn't get talked about enough, and we saw that against the Washington Commanders, especially how elite the Eagles have been in the second halves and what Jalen Hurts does for the RPO game and making defenders, linebackers hesitate for a half a second to a second and open up running lanes for Saquon Barkley on the outside, allowing the offensive line to pull and, get to their assignments. Like, Jalen Hurts is so critical to what is the Eagles' bread and butter. And we never talk about it. Like, we never, ever talk about it.
There was one of the shows, and I don't watch these ESPN and FS1 shows, but I do catch the clips online. One of the shows, they were talking about it. Two of the announcers were going at that, just in general, the running quarterback, we still have not embraced the fact, of what a running quarterback is and brings to the table. And it's something that it's not going away. In fact, in my opinion, 5 to 10 years from now, 95% of the quarterbacks in the NFL will be mobile running quarterbacks. I mean, we're probably already halfway there at this point, but we still don't, as a whole, embrace the running aspect of what it does. I mean, no one's talking down about Jane Daniels, and he won that game with his legs on Sunday just as much as our defense blew it. No one's criticizing C.J. Stroud for the down season he's having, like Jalen Hurts. So, and he's a mobile quarterback too. Like, this is the path that football's going on, and we just don't accept it.
I agree that Hurts and Kellen Moore have a tendency of kind of shooting themselves in the foot. It's not perfect by any means. And it's hard because, on contrast, the defense on all three levels has been so terrific overall all season long, whereas the offense has shown real flashes of things they could be great at. And I thought last week was also a great example of that. Like, why the hell are you running so much 12 personnel? You have two garbage tight ends. Grant Calcaterra is a straight-up liability right now, and they can't block, pass, or run block to save their lives. I mean, that is such a big need. The good news is Dallas Goedert will be coming back for the playoffs, and that is so big. But they need to run more 11 personnel. Where was the under center offense that we've seen such, amazing flashes with? Where is, the play action? I mean, again, just circling back to how much Jalen Hurts makes defenses respect him with both the pass and the run. I mean, it was just watch the games. Just watch.
Yeah, I mean, so Marshawn basically says it, and spot on. We just need to win this game so we can rest everyone in Week 18 and get ready for the Commanders, because we are going to most likely be playing them again in the first round of the playoffs. So, do you think Jalen Hurts will be cleared? It's very hard to get cleared of concussion in 1 week, especially for a quarterback. But if he doesn't get cleared, can the Eagles win with Kenny Pickett on Sunday against the Cowboys? I think that's a very, very fair question to ask. I think Kenny Pickett, a full week's worth of practice maybe, but this isn't even a full week's worth of practice with Christmas. Everything's kind of thrown off. Like, I would love to see them beat the Cowboys. I think Kenny Pickett could beat the Cowboys. And then that would give Jalen Hurts 2 weeks of rest, theoretically, if we can actually win. Do you have faith that we could do this on Sunday?
I do. It wasn't Kenny Pickett's fault we lost.
I love that you
by
said it because I've been saying that since that second. He was such a small part of that loss.
Yeah, like it wasn't Kenny Pickett's fault. The Eagles had too many players on the field twice. It wasn't Kenny Pickett's fault. The Eagles had so many miscommunications on defense. It wasn't his fault. CJ Gardner-Johnson got ejected from the game. It's
still bogus.
Kenny Pickett has a noodle arm. Let's be clear. He's not a good quarterback. But
I actually did pull up his Pro Football Reference page because I was just kind of, I was just in my mind. I'm like, I know he won some games in Pittsburgh, but I don't really know like what his stats were like in Pittsburgh. I'm like, they're not good. How the hell did he win those games? I think he's like 14-10 as a starter in Pittsburgh or something like that. It's like, damn, he's not that good.
I didn't like the move when they made it.
No, I didn't either. I got crushed for that, by the way.
I would rather. Kenny Pickett has problems, but let me start with this. He wasn't a disaster. I mean, that could have been a disaster, but he wasn't. He had some nice moments. Kenny Pickett's biggest problem is he thinks he's more mobile than he really is. Nick Sirianni said it during halftime last week that they're not changing the Eagles' offense between Jalen Hurts and Kenny Pickett, and that's a straight up mistake. I have more issues personally with Kellen Moore and the scheme versus Kenny Pickett because the throws were not there. Hold on, the throws were bad, but they were there. It hit AJ Brown in the hands. It hit Devontae in the hands. It hit Saquon in the hands. Did they have to adjust? Yes, but you're dealing with Kenny Pickett. Star players need to make star plays, and
it's not like Kenny Pickett's throwing to these guys in practice on a weekly basis either. Yeah. So the timing between wide receiver and quarterback aren't there. And yes, Mitchie Poo, spot on. Congrats, 17,000 subscribers on your channel. Yo, can I borrow 10% of that, please?
Absolutely.
Hook a brother up. We're at 327 to start this show. The race to 500. I want to race to 17,000, but man, I'll take 500 at this point. But congratulations on that.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Y'all part of media content creation. Y'all can't control the narrative, good or bad. Phil, don't call Jalen out. I call Jalen out when he needs to be, but I don't do it often. Yes, Matty B and his delusional comments as well. I'm over that. I moved on. It's Mitchie Poo. It's the Christmas spirit. I've moved on from that. Screw the rest of the media. We know who he is. He's our quarterback one. He is. Absolutely. I was going to take Sunday off after we went up 14-0. I was sitting there thinking on Sunday, I'm like, this game's over. This is going to be a stress-free game. And then that happened. And yeah, I don't know why I don't think Jalen plays on Sunday. I really don't. I think the concussion is much worse than people realize. I know people argued with me on it. Eerily similar to Carson Wentz's concussion in that Seattle game. Not exactly the same, but eerily similar. I think it's a lot worse than people realize. 100%.
I agree.
Lamar is the greatest running quarterback. I did not watch the Ravens game. I was watching the Sixers game, but I saw a lot of tweets. Give Lamar the MVP now after yesterday's game. So I guess he had a really good game. I know they smoked the Texans. The Texans are falling apart before our eyes right now. Did you catch any of the Netflix games yesterday?
No. I hate the NFL. I hate all pro sports, to be honest.
That's really good for a content creator right there.
No, I'll be honest. The NBA is garbage.
Absolutely
garbage. The NFL is just watch the games. They're unwatchable. Yeah. I will say I have a movie recommendation at the end of the show. I watched an awesome movie last night. A movie that they don't really make anymore. It was really great. But yeah, we were watching a really good flick.
What movie? I got to hear the name. You can't say that and then not name the movie.
Sure. It is Heretic with Hugh Grant.
Never heard
Go
of it.
check it out. It's an A24 flick. And everything the studio makes is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But man, they don't make them like that anymore. It was a movie where it's all about religion, what you believe versus what you don't believe, the history of religion and things like that. It's a horror thriller. And the way it ends makes you my wife and I were talking about it for hours afterwards. Awesome.
I love a movie that makes you talk about it afterwards.
No, sure. I was blown away.
Anthony, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Everyone crowned Stroud way too early, just like they did Jaden Daniels 3 weeks into the season this year. Look good before the league adjusts. Absolutely. 1,000% spot on with that. If Smitty makes that catch, we've got a different narrative. Absolutely. And then we're not worrying about whether Jalen Hurts plays. And that's now multiple times we've had some big drops, but we don't really talk about it.
Game all over again, man.
Great calculator. Look, we know this team needs to draft a tight end. I know, you're the draft expert out there. The Eagles we will have a lot of time in the offseason talking about will the Eagles draft a tight end in round 1, 2, or 3 this year. And I said they needed to last year. Now I'm very happy with the guys they drafted early in the draft last year. They're all working out pretty well, but they got to address tight end massively in the offseason, whether we agree with it or not. I don't think there's an argument there.
It's actually one of the better tight end classes in recent years too.
Yeah. Where will Tyler Warren go? That's the question, right? To all of Eagles fans, right?
He's so awesome, man. That's
is he, or is it because a lot of people are Penn State fans and they watch more Penn State?
I'm not.
Or is he really that good?
I'm not even a Penn State fan. My wife is.
Okay.
I'm a Temple guy. And so I don't really have anything. I watch
a lot.
I watch for the players, and I was like Tyler Warren. He can be like we talk about wanting the Eagles run more under center, with Ben Van Sumeren and having where did the fullback go? By the way, that's another question.
He played one snap last game.
Ridiculous.
Last game or whatever.
That is
we got two completely different comments back to back here. Marshawn saying can't beat the Cowboys with Kenny Pickett. Then K1 saying, are we really saying Pickett is worse than Cooper Rush? Basically saying that the Cowboys are even worse with their backup. And I think that's where Eagles Nation's mind is right now. It's either it's the battle of backups of Kenny Pickett and Cooper Rush. The Cowboys at least have already checked out on the season. They're done. You know what I mean? They're looking for draft position at this point. You know what I mean? So
they're winning games, man. They've won like 5 straight or something like that.
Are they officially they're officially eliminated. That's right. With our loss, they're officially eliminated. For someone who talks a lot, Slay failed to communicate with the team when he got on the field. It was a big mistake. And you know what's funny, Marshawn? Because everyone talked about how great a game that Darius Slay had last week, and he did have a great game. But he as well made a big mistake there at a crucial moment that changed the tides of the game right there. That 12 men on the field, it's one of my least favorite rules in all of sports. First off, like not rules, penalties, mistakes. Like there's no way a team can make that mistake. Like it's pretty simple. There's 11 guys on the field. You can't have 12. It's like I don't understand how that professionals can make that mistake at that level.
Yeah. The defense has been so good for so long. This is their one freebie. I'm giving them a freebie this week. Yeah. I'm not overreacting. I think it was more about the little things that kind of just in general just were too much, and that was the reason they won. I feel like major shout out to Washington. I thought they adjusted well. They were prepared. I feel like they had an answer every time, especially with Vic Fangio and his blitzes. And I thought the Washington receivers handled the Eagles defensive backs. And that's not something we've seen a lot. Like, I feel like if the Eagles secondary clears up that miscommunication stuff, they are, again, one of the best defenses in football. And that was a big reason why Jaden Daniels had so much success. There was just, I don't know what it was. We saw Vic Fangio blitz more than he ever has all season. Jaden Daniels had an answer for it every time with his arm, with his legs. And I do give Washington a shout out for, being prepared for that. I don't know how they were prepared for that because the Eagles weren't blitzing much heading into last week. But I thought Washington made plays when they needed to, and the Eagles dropped it, pun intended, when they had a chance.
Literally. I did see this, Mitchie Poo, the Happy Gilmore 2 trailer.
You see your guy?
It was like a teaser trailer. And I love him and Shooter at the end of it coming face to face. I love it. I saw somebody tweet something. There's a lot of rumors, but not a lot of information on what's going to happen in this movie. Saw a comment from somebody saying they got to get Drew Carey in the movie to fight with Adam Sandler. Drew Carey took over for The Price is Right and Bob Barker. So to continue that on, I'm like, I want to see that now. I love the idea. I hate when franchises or movie companies make movies just for nostalgic purposes.
Mm.
But you know what? I could care less. It's Happy Gilmore we're talking about here. Like, I'm totally all in for this 100%.
I love it. They just released a trailer for a new Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan and Daniel. It looks great, Phil. It looks great. I don't care.
I kind of got over, like, by season 3 of Cobra Kai, I tapped out. I thought it was just too much, Karate Kid. But yeah, that preview did look pretty badass. If we thought the Tyson fight broke Netflix almost, well, the Netflix stream was better yesterday. That's good to hear. That's what I was when I was asking if you watched the game, I was like, how was Netflix live streaming football? We got wrestling coming up. WWE is going to be on Netflix Live starting in the new year. If that stuff broke Netflix, the day Happy Gilmore drops will break Netflix, because literally every single person is going to want to watch that immediately, and I know I will be one of them. We'll have to probably do a show recapping Happy Gilmore 2, and that's the whole show. We're just going to do a Happy Gilmore 2 replay. You want in on this with me?
100%. If they reestablish like golf as a sport is dead, and I imagine the ratings are horrible, and then like they have like Shooter, reestablish himself as the best golfer in the world, and Adam Sandler comes back out of retirement, like that's going to be one of the best movies of all. I can't.
I actually think I don't know. I don't know what the storyline is supposed to be. I want to see Happy go to Shooter and be like, "Yo, I need you to be my new Chubbs and train me." And Shooter has to train Happy.
Yeah,
I like how Apollo started training Rocky eventually.
Like Rocky 2?
Rocky 3?
Was that Rocky 3?
Rocky 3, when he had to train after Mick died. So his enemy became his friend.
I love it. I'm
just throwing out random things here. You watched Gladiator 2. I totally forgot about Gladiator 2. How was it?
It's pretty good.
I've heard some people say they loved it, and some people said they thought it was terrible.
It's all right. So I have a lot of friends. I used to do like entertainment stuff on the side, and a lot of my friends actually really liked it because I watched the reviews and stuff. And I will say, going into it, I had really high expectations, and it was like here. It was good. It's not Gladiator 1 by any stretch of the imagination. There are some good performances in there. I wanted more. It's entertaining. I will just say that.
Gotcha. That Ravens-Texans game was garbage by the box score alone. I hate breaking down a game based off of a box score. But box score alone, it was not a very good game yesterday. It's a horror movie. What? Gladiator 2 is a horror movie. I watched Love Actually last night. What?
Terrific movie.
KC Pitt was watchable up until the end of the third. Again, I wasn't watching football yesterday. I watched just the Sixers game. Did a lot of family stuff. Merry Christmas, Anthony, to you as well. Mr. Judd, Merry Christmas to you as well. And to Duck, my man. Duck, thank you very much. I just want to say thank you. You know why. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Made my day when I saw that. What's up, TMC? How you doing today? You changed the name, but you're still the same. I know who you are when you're there. NFL defenses have more tapes on Stroud than the Feds have on Diddy. All right, it's after Christmas. We get back to the awful comments. That's fine. Yeah, sure. I like that. That's good. Eagles going to get the tight end from Penn State. I don't know if they will. But like you said, there's a lot of tight ends that could be drafted this year that are good.
Go check out Harold Fannin Jr.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of people mocking Tyler Warren to the Eagles for sure in mocks coming up here. The games yesterday stunk. Yeah, probably. Do any of you root for schools you didn't go to or don't go to? I don't know. Like, my problem was I was always not forced, but I felt obligated to be a Penn State fan. But I have no attachment to Penn State. And once I stopped caring about Penn State, my whole perspective has changed. But the problem is I don't have a team that I've latched onto yet. And I don't know who to root for. My college was a Division III school, and they stink at sports. So, like, I don't have a home team to root for, in college sports to motivate me. Villanova doesn't get me hyped for basketball because I don't really care about Villanova, those mainline pricks from New York Knicks team. I don't care. Like, I just, that's why I don't get into college sports anymore, is because I don't feel an emotional attachment to any one school.
That's fine. I always just root for a good game. Again, I'm watching players. I'm always rooting for the underdog. I just want good football, and I feel like college football delivers way more of that than the NFL. The NFL is just penalty. I feel like last week's not a good example of this because the first round of the college football playoff was a joke. They were all blowouts. That sets up a really good week in a week from today. But I think college football is doing it right. So
yeah, it was funny when the playoffs started. It was last week, or I guess it was earlier. When was Penn State's game? Last week, right?
last week.
It was the same day of that game was a Facebook memory that popped up on my Facebook feed. I mean, complaining about them only having a 14 playoff and how they got it wrong and stuff like that from many years ago. Just one random year, I was complaining on social media about it, and I'm like, they did finally get it right and expand the playoffs, which is what I'd always wanted. But I still don't have that connection. Marshawn, I agree with your statement here. I'm not a Slay hater, but I see why people are turned off by him, even though he is having a solid year. A couple of weeks ago, and I never fact checked this. A couple of weeks ago, one of the Eagles game announcers said that he's the second oldest starting cornerback in football this year. So I think considering the year he's having and being that old, that says something.
I think he'll be the first one to tell you that.
I think and that's why he rubs people the wrong way, because he'll tell you that. Somebody brought it up earlier this week or last week on this show that he's playing for another contract. And maybe he still thinks he can go, and another team will pay him pretty big in the offseason. I don't know. I mean, he's still playing at a solid level. I saw it. I didn't even want to address it because I don't think this movie was even necessary. It
was good.
No, there's no way that movie was good. It just screamed stinker.
We actually watched it, and I had, speaking of Gladiator 2, I had zero expectations for Red 1. If you're going into it with zero expectations, just looking for a money you can have in the background and just laugh, it does a really good job of finding the right balance between taking itself seriously and just being outrageous. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I'm a Dwayne Johnson guy. I thought they did a very good job with it.
Absolutely, Marshawn. 4th and 11, giving up a 30-yard rush up the middle is completely I guarantee. I know the Eagles didn't practice yesterday, but I think Vic Fangio probably went house to house to every defender on Christmas and made them run wind sprints in their backyard Christmas morning to make sure that they realize that can't happen again. The Superman teaser trailer, we can talk about that. I know Deeves is a movie guy. I thought the trailer looked good. You could tell it's James Gunn, in charge now by the videography. I hate the Superman costume. I think the Superman costume is atrocious. It looks like some third-grade project. Really, I can't stand the Superman costume. I can't. Outside of that, it looked like a good trailer. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited. I don't think
Superman's my favorite superhero. I've watched every movie. Even Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, back when it was Dean Cain. I watched every single episode on Sunday night when it came on. Everything Superman related, I've always been involved in. This is my least favorite costume, though. Going around right now.
Yeah, Smallville, one of my favorite shows ever. I'll go Superman and Lois, phenomenal. Such an underrated show. The first couple seasons of that is peak Superman content.
Yep.
But yeah, I could go back to World's Finest. We could talk about the Superman 90s animated series. I love Superman too. I'm a DC guy, and I'm cautiously optimistic because the Zack Snyder's DCU completely destroyed me. I hate Zack Snyder.
There were parts of his DCU that I enjoyed. I thought Henry Cavill was a fantastic Superman. Fantastic. And I think standalone movies with him would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah, their mistake was going from Man of Steel to just Justice League. They should have slowly built that. Man of Steel should have
slowed it down a little bit.
Aquaman was terrific. Wonder Woman was terrific. That's the first year was pretty good, but then it's more about the execution. They were trying
to play catch up to the MCU
and flip flip Marvel on its head and trying to rush things out too fast. And Zack Snyder, man, he's such a fraud. He's such a he is all flash, no substance. I give him credit for Man of Steel, but everything else after that was just garbage.
The Flash was when I finally, ended it for me. That Flash, I'm a big fan of the Flash too. Dorky kid growing up that wants to run away from the bullies. The Flash, resonated with me a lot as a kid. But that movie was so awful. They could have taken Grant Gustin or whatever his name is from the Flash, the Arrowverse, and made a better movie with him than they did with Urza Miller or whatever his name is.
The first seasons of Arrow, The Flash,
the Arrowverse, I watched it all.
They're great.
Yeah.
But then
even when it got sucky towards the end, I still watched it all. Dude, I love The Flash. The Arrow TV show might be one of the best superhero TV shows of all time.
Yeah,
it was so well done, despite it getting bad towards the end.
Yeah, the first few seasons of Arrow with Ra's al Ghul and who's the villain with the red mask? Not Deadpool. Jesus,
Deadshot. Yeah.
It might be. I think it's. I don't know. Anyway, I know
who you're talking about.
And it's so well done. It's so well done.
Yeah, it was really well done. Rick says refs were the biggest reason for the Eagles' loss. They've been shitting on the Eagles all season. The refs, we spent a long time on Christmas Eve talking about officiating in sports in general, Rick. It's atrocious. Like, there's no accountability for officials in any sport at this point. And it's pretty bad. It's really, really bad and really, really needs to find a way or something has to happen to get better because, I don't know where you stand on the gambling aspect of it, Deebs, blaming gambling and stuff like that on the officiating and stuff like that. Do you play into that narrative that a lot of us believe that the gambling aspect of things are affecting the outcome of games?
It's got to be. I mean, just the quality across the board, NFL, NBA is just so bad right now. Like, at no point should refs be controlling the games like they have. I mean, a lot of people were upset about CJ Gardner-Johnson and his ejection, but like, when did the NFL become so soft? Like, when did the NFL just start banning players for saying mean words and, all this ridiculousness? Like, you look at the call with Embiid, like they're literally ruining the game. They're literally ruining the game. It's a huge problem. I don't want to get into the political stuff, but
I'm going to get into something here because you know what? I made a joke that the ref from the Sixers game the other night that threw out Embiid and tried to throw out Andre Drummond. And I don't want to make this about, male refs versus female refs because if you're reffing, you got to accept that you got to take the smoke from the players, whether you're male or female. Everyone's coming at Embiid for going after a woman and whatnot. Everyone's talking about how bad refs are about gambling. And I made a joke about how she was just looking for 15 minutes of fame to boost her Instagram, fame. I just made a joke. I didn't even know what she looked like. But then someone found her Instagram page and her out there modeling bikinis and shit like that. And her page is blowing up on Instagram now. Like, no lie, I'm like, oh shit, I was just joking. But it really legitly is happening. Like, she was using that moment to blow up her secondary career. And she does have, never mind. I'm not going to say anything about that. But anyway, we'll just leave that alone. But you know what I'm getting at? Like, too much outside. Rick, I did not hear that Netflix crashed yesterday. Wow. They better fix that shit. I did not see many people say that. They finally hired an Asian actor to be the Karate Kid. Only took decades.
The fight choreography in that trailer looks ridiculously awesome. Awesome.
Never saw Happy Gilmore. Are you like, what is wrong with you? Like, who are you? Are you even a real person? What is Happy Gilmore 2? Is it as bad as, what if it's as bad as Godfather 3? I don't know if there's many movies that could be made much worse than Godfather 3. So
it's also like Adam Sandler, like it's good bad.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Squid Games 2. I did not need a Squid Games 2. I enjoyed Squid Games 1, but didn't love it like everybody else. I thought it was very to me. You know what I mean? Like it was okay. So I don't need Squid Games 2. We'll eventually watch it, but I am not going to be rushing out to watch that. Home Alone 3 is the best Part 3 movie of any series. Dude, I think I've come to the understanding after Christmas Eve because we watched Home Alone 1 on Christmas Eve night. My wife and I, yes, grown people watching Home Alone with no kids. Home Alone 1 is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Bam, said it, no questions. And I don't think you can change my mind on that.
It's up there. It's a Wonderful Life is up there for me. That movie just blows me away. It was a movie so ahead of its time. I got some underrated Christmas movies. I'll throw out Jingle Jangle, awesome film. That movie just gets me. Claus, the animated movie out of Netflix, phenomenal, phenomenal Christmas movie. Nobody talks about enough. Krampus is a terrific Christmas movie.
We're gonna fire through. I see a side comment on my side screen that I'm at least 10 minutes behind on comments right now. Like we are so far behind on the comments. We're gonna fire through these real quick. Denzel, how was Denzel in Gladiator 2? Was he good?
He's awesome. He's awesome in everything. But I wanted more Denzel. Like he was good in it. Obviously, no, it's not a spoiler one. Like he becomes the villain. I want more of that, and there's just not enough of it to flesh it out.
You're being you're being called out that you don't have friends and you're a dork. Pretty honestly. Yeah. Let's see. What do we got here? Thank you, Deebs. Love Actually is truly a great Christmas movie.
All time.
Yeah, I want to see Gladiator 2 for the aquatic battles. Yes, I've been in the Coliseum. It's such a like humbling experience to walk into the Coliseum, and you just like sit there and think about what went on there. It's a pretty amazing experience. I've been a Michigan fan since I was a young kid because, as a huge comic book geek, Wolverine was always. Oh, there you go. There's a reason to like the Michigan Wolverines right there. There you go. Jay Wright made Nova watchable. He was a great coach, and yeah, we talked about Nova like 10 minutes ago. Yeah, we are definitely about 10 minutes behind here. Slay is playing hard right now because he's playing for another contract. Agreed. I root for Temple because I attended those schools in person. Yeah, I'm not rooting for the Widener University pride, like I got no attachment to Widener University other than Nick Sirianni's Mount Union whooped us up in the playoffs when I went there. Eating and streaming is, you're getting called out for eating by K1. What? Are we getting the same two morons for play-by-play? We are getting the same two. The Joe Davis, Greg Olson. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Nobody wants to see you, Phil. K1's got an agenda against you today. I don't know what's going on there. I watched Red One last night with the kids, and we loved it.
Yeah, see?
I can't believe they put it.
It's one of those movies that's so ridiculous, and they own it. It's I don't know how else to explain it. Watch it. It's way better than the Rotten Tomato meter.
Please stop naming your dog. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna name their dog Crypto now. My wife saw the trailer with me, and it's like, she said, "Oh, Superman is a dog." I'm like, "Yeah, Superman is a dog." They haven't really used it in TVs or movies many times. But she said, "Why'd they get such a lame looking dog to play Superman's dog? Like, wouldn't Superman have like this big scary dog?" That was the first thing she said. Falcons have a path. They do. Superman stinks. Well, you stink. TMC. Superman and Lois was great, and the ending. Like, I fell off like season 3, 4. I didn't watch, but then I saw they were concluding it, so I did watch the ending, and the ending was top notch. That ending. For the budget they had, they did a great job. Yeah, absolutely. I need the Falcons to win the South so the Eagles play here. So the Eagles play here next year. I don't know that. I don't get that one. My wife got me True Romance Director's cut for Christmas yesterday. Can't wait to watch this weekend. True Romance, one of my all-time favorite movies. So good. Can't say I've seen it. Boy, the stream went downhill. Well, how did it go downhill? I think this stream's been fantastic, guys. I'm having a blast this morning. Marvel over DC all day. In general, they've just been better movies. But as a kid growing up, DC was way better than Marvel, in my opinion. I love the way Embiid flipped off the Celtics fans with his arms while holding up the 3 fingers. I did not see that part, mister. I didn't see it. I did see us get our first DX crop chop. You know what I'm saying. He kind of played it off too. I don't know if he was giving them the bird and then then the camera showed him. Then he kind of changed up his gestures a little bit because I think he caught himself in the act. Check that out. Yeah, Snyder was originally a designer, not a filmmaker. You should make trailers. Disney movies are garbage. They are garbage. Yeah, I can semi get behind that. Batwoman TV show was amazing. Are you talking about the Arrowverse Batman show? I think that was awful. Did they change the actor one season into it? It was so bad. Yeah, Batwoman was bad. Marvel's What If show is amazing. I haven't watched any of season 3 of it yet, but I've watched bits and pieces of it. It is pretty amazing. I haven't watched the new season yet, but I will say the X-Men 97 season 1, phenomenal. I heard a lot of people it captures the epicness of the X-Men universe. If they just copy and paste that and make those movies, that season into a movie, it'll be phenomenal. It is an amazing, amazing show. Go check out X-Men 97 if you're into Marvel. Jose has a sad question to an extent here. Eagles versus KC or Buffalo in the Super Bowl. I still think you can throw the Ravens in that conversation as well, Jose. And the head ref is the same ref who threw the flag and ejected Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. What goes through your head knowing that going into the Super Bowl? That would be interesting. You know what I mean? I'm going to be paying attention to who the refs are for every playoff game for the Eagles this year, without
Absolutely.
a doubt.
I mean, if I was an opposing offense, I would go straight at CJ Gardner-Johnson. I would go straight at Jalen Carter. And hopefully they do something dumb and get an unnecessary roughness. And I mean, at some point, Carter and Gardner-Johnson have to be smart.
Anytime a lot of money is being bet on a single team, they'll make their best. Yeah, I agree. Wasn't there like a couple of weeks ago, it got put out there, some guy bet like $3 million on the Eagles versus the Panthers game. And then I kind of feel like they tried to make sure the Panthers were in that game towards the end. And, I'm definitely at the point where, I'm finally starting to see the light. Like Mark Moscatelli will be on tomorrow, guys. And he's been a proponent of, the gambling, being in bed with the leagues is a bad thing for a very long time. We'll talk about it with him for sure. But he's slowly getting me to see the wrongness, I guess is the word. But it's not like, but I also understand that the leagues are never not going to be in bed. And you can't make gambling illegal either because it's too big of a business. And even when gambling was illegal, it was still out there. Tim Donaghy, that situation, gambling wasn't legal when the Tim Donaghy situation happened. When the Henry Hill, everybody thinks Henry Hill got arrested from Goodfellas because of drugs. He actually got arrested because of the gambling ring in college. And that's the real thing that brought down that whole criminal empire. There was no legal gambling at that point either. So legalizing or not legalizing, being in bed or not, isn't going to change it. The leagues have to find a way to manage the situation better.
Yep.
That's just me. Yeah. So I'm caught up. I think I spent the last 8 minutes to catch up on 10 minutes worth of comments. Okay. I don't know if she's a model purposely. There's VCP's first appearance today. VCP is when I crack my voice crack Phil. And I just did it for the first time. It happens 2 or 3 times a show, Deebs. I don't know if she's meant to be an Instagram model, but her Instagram page is blowing up, and there are a bunch of bikini pictures out there that are being shared all over social media on why she's such a bad ref. And that has nothing to do with her bad refereeing. Let's just be honest. But we're thinking about other things. If she has a hot body, we forgive her for being a terrible ref. I don't know. I'm not saying it. Even the director and creator stated that he didn't want to do Squid Game 2. But yeah, Netflix made a lot of money on Squid Games, for sure. Die Hard, top 3 Christmas movie, 100%. You know what I just learned? I just learned the other day. You know what else is a Christmas movie and we forget about it? Rambo is a Christmas movie. When he gets arrested in the original Rambo and he's in the police station getting fingerprinted, there's a Christmas tree in the background, decorated. Go back and watch when he's getting his fingerprints done. There's a Christmas tree in the background. So Rambo is technically a Christmas movie as well. Family Man by Nicolas Cage, terrific Christmas movie. You know what? Isn't that the one where he I know what movie you're talking about, Marshawn, and I think I have seen it a few times, a long time ago, though. Santa Die Hard movie was great. That was last year, I think that came out, I think.
Would you call When Harry Met Sally a Christmas movie?
I've probably only seen it once or twice, so I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. Friday After Next. Yes.
Best
Aquatic battles look awesome in the Coliseum.
Yeah, they were really good. They were really well done.
I think K1's just hungry, and you're making him jealous because he's not happy with you here. Thieves has friends, and therefore he's a dork. Okay, misunderstood that. They could never have had sharks, especially great whites, in the Coliseum. They used to look. Let me tell you something. I don't know. I like I said, when I step foot in the Coliseum, like I got goosebumps on my hand when I stepped foot in the Coliseum. Just like when I went to Pompeii for the first time, goosebumps on your arms. You know what I mean? So
it's all family.
Eddie Murphy and Trading Places was a great Christmas movie. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. They had whales on the Enterprise. What? Trading Places is good. Yeah, for sure. We can't even get sharks to survive a movie about. No. Anthony's saying he lives in Atlanta. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I didn't even realize that. East winner plays the NFC South winner next year in the NFC South. So, okay. So you live down there, so the Eagles would play. You'd get to see an Eagles game in person down there if that happened. Gotcha. Comprende now. Poodles are vicious blood. Where does that come from? I don't even get that one right there.
Crypto.
Oh, crypto. Yeah. Sorry. Samantha Irvine posted a photo of herself doing the DX crotch chop. Really? Yes. Where is she these days? I miss seeing her on my TVs on Monday night. Ruby Rose was too lazy for TV. Yeah, that was the first Batgirl, right? In the Arrowverse, wasn't Ruby Rose? Yeah, I think that's what.
And then they also made a Batgirl movie, and it got complete. They literally finished filming it, and said we're not releasing this. Hopefully, they do release it at some point.
Right.
Yep.
I can't believe you would make a movie, and it's so bad that you're not even gonna like. What does that say about the movie? That let's spend $100 million making a movie, but it's not even worth putting it out.
It's not worth
$100 million in advertising to put the movie out. Like
it's all
got to be pretty bad.
It's on the same tier as like the Sony animated, not Sony animated, the Sony Spider-Man universe with like Kraven and Venom and Morbius. Like how does people at the top of the top in Hollywood green light these projects and ideas? Like you're telling me a movie that's about Spider-Man without Spider-Man is not going to succeed? Like who are making these decisions? It's laughable.
Yeah, I haven't seen Kraven. I saw Morbius. I downloaded. I download things when I'm flying. I download movies to my phone that are going to make me fall asleep on the plane. I put on Morbius. 5 minutes into the movie, I was out and I woke up and the flight was over. Yeah. Like that's how bad Morbius was. Put me to sleep. I did go back and rewatch it, but it literally put me to sleep on a plane.
Madame Web. Oh my god.
No chance I'd even watch that. Literally no chance. Guys, you're watching Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. If you're watching and you haven't done it already, please hit that like button and that subscribe button and that share button. We're talking about turning the page into 2025. We got Deebs here. Mr. Crockpot, Party on Broad, just crossed 17,000 subscribers with me here today. Tomorrow we got Mark, so we got lots to get into. Eagles, Cowboys. We'll start that conversation here on the final 20 of the show here, about what the Eagles can do. And I know some people said it earlier in the chat. I'm going to say it now. I disagree. Kenny Pickett 100% can beat the Cowboys on Sunday because Kenny Pickett might not be a good quarterback, but the old Kenny Pickett did not have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, etc. The Cowboys' defense is so bad, Saquon Barkley might break the Eric Dickerson record this week alone. Like, he legitimately has that opportunity. So I do truly believe that the last week was a fluke for the Eagles moving forward. But I do truly believe that Kenny Pickett can win one game against the Cowboys so we can get a rest and peaceful Week 18 here in Philadelphia. Government should look into the leagues. Yeah, I think the government might actually have to step in at some point with officiating and gambling. Deeps, and I asked this on Tuesday, and no one had an answer. Since Tim Donaghy, has any ref been caught? Like, we've seen a lot of athletes get in trouble for illegally gambling, like on their sports. Isaiah Rodgers, with the Eagles and stuff. We've seen that plenty of times. I don't think we've seen a single referee in any sport get arrested or get caught cheating, have we?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I don't know if you've ever watched the Tim Donaghy documentary on Netflix. He openly says it's a regular thing. And the mafia guy in the documentary that was being interviewed was saying, yeah, we've got refs in every single league under our thumb. So they literally admitted it on a documentary that it's happening, and no one else has been caught. So how does the government not get involved in this? To preserve the integrity of sports.
Yeah, I believe it. Like, yeah.
Man.
There was a moment during the Celtics game where the Sixers were up like 15 or 16, and like Yabusele got hacked at the rim. He missed the dunk, and there was no call. And then on the other end, Jason Tatum gets a foul, gets a continuation, and it was just so rigged. I always think that's always in the back of my head. Like, how is that not a foul? And on the other end, that's what you call like, yeah.
Marshall, are you joking? I mean, I know we're falling behind on comments again because I brought this up like 5 minutes ago. If you don't know Henry Hill is obviously into drugs and a drug dealer. But Henry Hill and his drug ring, the real story of Goodfellas, they got arrested because of a college basketball referee scandal where they were paying the refs to affect the outcome of games. And that's what he ratted. When he ratted on the rest of his crew, he ratted them out on this situation, not the drug situation. If you don't know this, you need to go read up on the true story of Henry Hill, because a lot of that movie was massively fabricated. A lot of the Goodfellas movie, as great of a movie as it is, they took so many liberties with that movie. The real story of Henry Hill, much, much different than what was in the movie, which is kind of crazy. I don't think a gambling ring is as entertaining as a drug deal ring when it comes to movies. You know what I'm talking about, right, Deeps?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. The Dunahee situation was crazy, for sure. Lions, Eagles, Vikings, Packers, Commanders, Rams, Falcons, Bucks. In that order, yeah, maybe, sure. I'm not losing faith in the Eagles. I still think the Eagles, even after a loss, are the best team in the NFC, without a doubt, in my opinion. He was a Union delegate, yeah. Embiid gave Celtic fans the fungu. Tatum caught that, and Embiid thought, oh shit. Oh man, Jalen Carter gets held 80% of the time. I think that's a low estimation. I think it's more like 95% of the time.
Crazy.
Not sure what the league has against this dude. I don't know either. I know you can't call a hold on every single play in the NFL, but you got to give him some, right?
Yeah.
The helicopter might have been following him, but that's not why he got arrested, just so you know. Trading Places is technically a Christmas movie, too. It is, absolutely. Any movie that has a Christmas tree in is a Christmas movie, basically. We just need to beat the Cowboys so we can get healthy dose of Tanner McKee. Here's a question. Do you think the Eagles are even contemplating starting Tanner McKee on Sunday? They did bring in Ian Book yesterday. I guarantee you today they cut the tight end, I forget his name now, from the practice squad, opening up a practice squad roster. Ian Book was in Philadelphia yesterday. I guarantee you today they're going to add Ian Book to the practice squad roster. They'll probably elevate him as the third string quarterback. Do you think the Eagles even consider Tanner McKee? Because you know the McKeesters love them some Tanner McKee.
No, and sadly no. I think that's probably a day 3 target the Eagles look at is a quarterback that has similar skill set to Jalen Hurts this draft. And unfortunately, like if you watch any of my shows, Eagles Pin Pool, Party on Broad, I was pounding the table for Tanner McKee, and I don't understand it, but here we are.
Yeah, how does Madam Web flop when the movie has Sydney?
Because
that's how bad of a movie it was, you know?
She's barely in it, and she only suits up literally at the very end.
That's how bad a movie is when she's in it and it flops.
Yeah, she's like she box office gold right now.
This is a funny. I kind of am reading this in my mind, very sarcastically. I totally trust the government to clean up sports. Like when I see those words on my screen, for some reason I don't believe there's any seriousness to that. But something has to give. Something has to give in sports. The upcoming administration won't do crap about illegal money. Yeah, look, we're not going to turn this into a politics thing here. They will just tax the refs. Yeah. NBA and NFL, so effing rigged, makes it more and more difficult. Look, it makes it, I love, you guys know, y'all make fun of me because I gamble a lot. I love to gamble on sports. I do. But it makes it very hard to do it. DraftKings sends me like a receipt at the end of every year, my winnings and my losings and, like my recap of the year. And I turned a profit of $21 in 2024 on the gambling side of things. Big $21. Love it. But I only gambled like $2,100 this year. And almost all of that was on golf because I just don't trust the NBA or NFL to gamble my money on it. I'll throw a couple Eagles parlays here or there just for fun, but you can't have faith in gambling on sports anymore. You can't. Trump is against gambling, is he? That would be weird. It's kind of ironic considering he owned so many casinos back in the day. I thought Henry was dumb enough to trust a babysitter to mule for him. Yeah. So now I don't know if you're joking or not, Marsh, and I don't know if you truly know the story or not. Eyes Wide Shut was a Christmas movie, was it? Ian Book was in the house. Ian Book will be a part of the Eagles organization today. I'm almost confident. And if they do sign Ian Book today, that tells me Jalen Hurts will not get cleared. There's no need to add a fourth quarterback if Jalen Hurts is even close to being cleared. He was asked on Monday at his press conference. He kind of was really hazy on his answer he was asked if Jalen Hurts doesn't practice at all and gets cleared Sunday morning, would you start Jalen Hurts? And Nick Sirianni kind of teetered on that answer. He didn't say yes 100% or no, he has to practice. Do you start Jalen Hurts if he doesn't practice all week?
No, I don't. I wouldn't even play Jalen Hurts. That's just me. Though.
Even if he gets cleared, you're not playing him.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, that means you're confident Kenny Pickett can win.
I'm confident Jalen Hurts will be fine. First round. I'm confident Kenny Pickett can beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Big Dom's going to be the next. Big Dom there's a reason why Big Dom, he's a high-ranking capo in the five families. There's a reason why he turned down that Hollywood money to have a movie made about him, because there's some skeletons in his closet probably from those five families that he don't want coming out into the Hollywood world right there. Mr. Tom Cruise makes Clearwater a Christmas city. Yeah, that's fine. What? Do you not get this?
Is that what is that? I don't understand.
Tom Cruise. What is it? What's his religion? The Scientologists. Their headquarters is in Clearwater. The first time I went to Clearwater, we were Ubering from the airport to Clearwater Beach, and the Uber ride takes you right by their headquarters. And the Uber driver was like, over here on the right, here's the headquarters for the Scientology and Tom Cruise's people. And I'm like, dude, this mansion, this building is like spectacular looking. Like they put millions and millions of dollars to build this facility. And it's right there on the main drag from the Clearwater Airport to Clearwater Beach. It's a massive thing.
Okay.
Sydney Sweeney is fine, but not fine enough to save a crap show. Yeah. She's definitely the new sensation, we'll just say. Yeah, you need that receipt from. I don't think I'm claiming my $21 in profit, Duck. I'm not. Yeah, I did. That's how bad of a year. Well, that $2,100 counts gambling, counts DFS, and counts their online casino as well. So all things considered, if you look at a breakdown, I've made more than $21 on the sportsbook side. I think I was negative 200 on DFS and like negative 200 on the casino, and then I was up like 500 on the gambling. Still not good. Not a good year for me on the gambling front, K1. You got to get on Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown or Saquon. Yeah. Well, not this week because Jalen Hurts might not play this week. But do you push Saquon Barkley this week? Kenny Pickett starts. Well, no. I'm saying Kenny Pickett starts. I'm not saying to get the record per se, but you do got to lean heavy on Saquon Barkley, right?
That's why last week was so frustrating, because the way it started, like it looked like a huge Hurts Saquon first half, and then kind of just rest guys in the second half. Yeah, I've been a big guy on lowering the snaps for Saquon Barkley. He's such the engine of this Eagles offense in so many different ways. I am all on board with that. But they're going to have to use him.
Duck's been a big believer and big pusher in getting Saquon the record this year.
I don't.
I mean, what is he? 250, 260 yards shy of the record. I mean, yeah, I know Dallas has got the awful, rush defense. But I mean, it'd be really hard to get it. And he's not. If they win, they're not going to play next week. So, I mean, I'm pretty much sure that the record's pretty much out of the conversation at this point of the day. I don't think there's a path. The only way that he has a chance is if they play all game and they lose to the Cowboys, and then they have to win next week to win that division. That's the only way it happens. Like, that's tough.
Call him Doc, because he loves him some regular season records. I don't just keep Saquon healthy, man. Just keep him.
Is there a scenario? Because I haven't actually looked this up yet. I was going to do my research later today. Is there a path for the Eagles to get that number 2 seed and win the division if they lose this week? If Washington loses this week, or is there a scenario that even in a losing effort they lock that up? I'm not even sure off the top of my head.
No, I'm not either, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Somebody in the chat probably knows the answer to that. Sydney Sweeney needs to screw the record. I want a ring. I agree, K1. This is all that matters. We have become so fascinated in Philly sports with not caring about winning. Like, it's all about everything else. It's all about the records. It's all about looking pretty when you do it. All I care about is winning. When did winning not become the number one thing? Because that's all that matters. And winning is championships. It's plain and simple. He needs the record for the Hall of Fame. I don't know. Maybe not. It's always going to have an asterisk and that's true too, K1. That's why he's got to break the record today or this week, not next week, because it doesn't count if it's in 17 games, right?
He had 109 yards in the first quarter with Hurts. Oh, it's so frustrating, man. So
and I brought this up on Twitter, and I got crushed for even suggesting it. Like, people just tore me a new one for suggesting it. Do you blame Kellen Moore's game planning or play calling after Kenny Pickett came in? Because it was obvious that they were stacking 9 in the box, Washington, to stop Saquon. And I know Kenny Pickett's not a great thrower, but something had to change, right? And he didn't make any changes, Kellen Moore, to his game, his play calling in the game.
I don't care if it's a run or a pass. If they're getting 4 or 5 yards a tick, it's all the same to me. Like, if you throw the ball in the flat for like 4 yards, there's no difference.
Yeah. I kind of felt like something had to change, and it didn't. Like, he just stuck to the original game plan as if Jalen Hurts was still in there. And that wasn't a smart way to play the game. And look, Kellen Moore is a solid offensive coordinator. He'll be a head coach in a year or two, no doubt about it. But like, I kind of feel like everyone puts blame on certain people, and I kind of feel like the blame, at least a portion of it, could have gone to Kellen Moore. What's up? Happy Merry Christmas, Chet. Eagles clinch the East and the number 2 seat with a win or a Commanders loss. So let me pull up the NFL schedule this week. I don't even know who the Commanders play this week. They got the Falcons, and the Falcons need a win, right? The Falcons can win their division if they keep winning. So there you go. And guys, check out tonight, 7 p.m. right here on the STT Sports Network. Chet and Bill, Philly Press Box Radio, special guest live on my channel tonight at 7 p.m. The godfather of Philly Eagles sports, Ray Didinger, will be live right here on the channel with my man Chet. And I'm curious to hear what Diddy has to say. Ray Didinger, that is, not the other Diddy. You got to make sure you call him the right things there, Chet, tonight. You can't call him Diddy because that's got a negative connotation there. What Ray Didinger will say about this Eagles team going forward and with Kenny Pickett and Jalen Hurts. But you got to make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn those notifications on because you're not going to want to miss Ray Didinger tonight right here on this channel. They should never run into a 9-man box. Absolutely. Period. And I actually think Kenny Pickett, everyone gives Kenny Pickett a lot of crap for the game on Sunday. I don't. Kenny Pickett gave you a chance to win. No back and forth. I got into an argument the other day with somebody on Twitter. That's all I do is get into arguments all the time. That, basically Kenny Pickett, what team that's in the playoff hunt right now would lose their starting quarterback and have no doubt win a game with their backup? Like, who's got Kenny Pickett's not a good quarterback, but he's a good backup quarterback. Like, if the Chiefs, if Patrick Mahomes went down, you don't think the Chiefs fans would be a little concerned about Carson Wentz? Or Josh Allen goes down? Isn't Mitchell Trubisky still his backup? Like, look at all these playoff teams. Like, there's a VCP again. Lamar Jackson goes down. Josh Johnson winning them games? Like, I don't know. Like, everybody's making such a big deal about Kenny Pickett. He did just enough. The rest of the team failed him, if anything.
The big thing to watch here, I love that comment, is the Eagles struggled really mightily on first downs, running into stacked boxes. I really need to see Kellen Moore get more creative on first down, assuming Kenny Pickett is the quarterback on Sunday. But that's just a huge subplot to Sunday. The Eagles need to find more success on first down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the Eagles have started to answer a lot of the questions. Like they Jalen Hurts has, answered the questions about throwing the ball a few weeks ago. They've been scoring in the first quarter now and stuff like that. Now they have another question. It's what they do on first down with Kenny Pickett out there. I truly believe if they give I don't even know what the practice schedule is supposed to be like, since they didn't practice Wednesday. I'm sure they'll practice today and tomorrow. Maybe the practices will be a little bit more, bigger practices since they're one practice down this week. But I think 2 full practices with Kenny Pickett, getting his timing down with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, everybody else, I fully believe that there should be no concern from Eagles fans about winning the game on Sunday. And we don't even need Washington to lose to the Falcons for us to win. I truly am confident that this Eagles team is fine. I really do.
I'm more worried about the interior offensive line than I am Kenny Pickett. I thought the interior offensive line for the Eagles
absolutely
a bad game.
I've been very critical of the offensive line. I know you watch, a lot more highlight tapes than I do and break down film. The Eagles offensive line does have more issues than people realize, especially in the pass blocking department. We'll just put that out there. I just looked. it's right now the Eagles game. The Eagles are 8-point favorites. It started at 7.5, and now they're 8-point favorites on Sunday. Just think about that. They think the bettors, and it's trending towards a Kenny Pickett game. The people that set the line think that a Kenny Pickett-led Eagles team is 8 points better than the Dallas Cowboys.
I think, dude,
Put that
think,
out there into perspective, okay?
I think the Eagles defense comes out and dominates this. I think they're going to make a statement.
I thought Kenny Pickett was terrible. The Commies turned the ball over 5 times. Is the only reason. Look, the turnovers. So you could say that. You could say that Devontae Smith dropped the game-winning pass. You could say Saquon dropped the pass. A.J. Brown, I know it was a little behind him, dropped the pass. You could say Zach Bond was out of position on the game-winning touchdown. Yeah. I had the stat here. Let me go back. I didn't take a lot of notes. Eagles missed 13 tackles on Sunday. 4 of them by Jalen Carter alone. You could say that was why. You could say the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I did the numbers on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. 194 yards the Eagles defense gave up on the first 9 possessions with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. They gave up 210 yards in the 4 possessions without Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. It was not all on Kenny Pickett. That was literally the worst game of the year for this team. That might have been a worse performance in Tampa Bay. Defensive performance.
It was Atlanta Falcons 2.0. It was exactly from start to finish. It was what's the word? Sand. Where you're sinking in sand. What's that?
Quicksand.
Quicksand. It was a great example of quicksand. Where
I've been in quicksand before. It sucks.
And I go back to, oh my God.
It sucks. Trust me.
All right. But it was just a quicksand of all the things that could possibly go wrong. I mean, Tristan McCollum, I don't blame Tristan McCollum. That's why I don't blame it all on Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett is who he is. But
exactly.
I expect Kellen Moore to be more creative offensively. I expect the Eagles offensive line to play better than they did. They didn't win in the trenches. After Josh Sweat got hurt in the first quarter, the pass rush was not there. It was horrible in the second half. They got 0 pressure on Jaden Daniels. And when they did, he was off running for big first down. So for me, it was, Kenny Pickett is way on the bottom of that totem pole.
And to give my personal experience of quicksand, using the reference of it, when you struggle in quicksand, so when the domino effect starts to happen, you start to really fight it. They always say in the movies, you start to sink quicker. Let me tell you from personal experience, it does happen. If you start to struggle in quicksand, you go down even faster. And I almost died from quicksand. So I could give you, perfect example of what that is like.
Where the hell were you to get into quicksand?
I don't remember where. I was playing golf on a golf course when I was working on cruise ships. And I hit my golf ball so far to the right. And there was a section of the rough or the woods, off the hole, that was roped off that said, don't go over here. But my golf ball was sitting right up on the top of it. And it just looked like mud. And the guy I was playing with had played there before. I'm like, yo, I don't want to waste that golf ball. I won't hit from over there. I'm like, do you think I could get over there and get my ball? He's like, yeah, just go over there. So I walked out there, and it wasn't like muddy area or like a damaged area. It was literally quicksand. And I started sinking. And I started shouting and screaming, and I started struggling, and I couldn't get out. And they literally, someone had to go get a rope, and 3 guys had to pull me out. By the time they got me started moving out of it, I was above my waist deep. It was up to just above my belly button, how deep I was.
That's crazy.
It was, yeah. And that was the first round of golf I played after breaking my leg really bad. So I'm sitting there twisting in the sand. I can feel the bone in my leg cracking and stuff like that again. Dude, it was the scariest thing in the world. Literally, I thought I was going to, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm picturing, what's his name from The Princess Bride, when he gets into that mud thing and goes down. That's what I'm sitting there picturing. I'm like, I'm going down just like him. I'm gone. I'm a goner here. But yeah. It's
That's
it's really thick and it's nasty, man. Trust me. They had to literally drive me back to where they clean the golf carts and hose me off like an elephant or something like that. I would just stand there like this, and they had this giant hose, and they were just power washing me, and the shit would not come off of me. It was so bad. Yeah. I don't even remember where that was. That was so long ago. Over 20 years ago. Kenny Pickett passed for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. We're going to talk about a quarterback controversy. If he does do that, though.
Let's get 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 throwing, one running. and no turnovers, and I'm happy as a clam.
I agree with you on that. What do you got going on? I mean, the year's just about over. You obviously got the privilege of hitting 17,000 subscribers this week. What do you got going on the rest of this week, and what's the plans into the new year?
Yeah, just more of the same. I might start doing Sixers post games again. I don't know. I don't have the time anymore. I started a new job. I'm busy as heck. I'm starting a second job where I'm working evenings, so I'm going to be crazy busy. So I do daily shorts on the Eagles. I do try to do like 2, 3, 4 of those a day. I do NFL draft content. I've been doing my top 10 positional rankings. I'm almost done with the defense. I should be done with the defense this week. I'm doing defensive tackle and safety today, so go be on the lookout for that. And then we'll get into way more specifics for the NFL draft, like best nickel defenders, best slot receivers, things like that. That I get to be more specific, especially with the Eagles. I'll get into Eagles stuff with the draft as well. So I also cover the NBA draft. So once this college football playoff ends, I'll start going into the NBA draft. I already covered a handful of guys, mostly second round kind of dudes. So that's kind of where you'll find me. I'm over at Eagles Pinpool. We do Birds of the Round Table there. Eagles halftime and post game shows with Shane, and that whole crew is amazing. You included.
I know. I think people forget I'm part of that Pinpool podcast network too. The Eagles check down.
Yeah. So that's kind of where you'll find me. Is
awesome.
When I all around the place.
What does the Deebs household do for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day?
New Year's sucks, man.
Will you make it to midnight?
No, absolutely not. I'm old, man. The older you get, the earlier you start drinking and go to bed early.
No, I have not missed I have not missed a midnight in
wow.
I don't know how long. Not always partying. And we're going to be on a cruise. We leave Sunday for a cruise, so I'll be on a cruise ship. New Year's Eve parties are the best parties of the world. Yeah. Like I've done it multiple times. I worked on multiple of them for New Year's. It's fantastic. So it'll be easy to stay up till midnight this year. But let me tell you something. I cannot tell you the last time I didn't make it till midnight on New Year's Eve. I make it every year.
Yeah, if you're on a cruise, I mean,
even like we always go away for New Year's and we rent a house normally, and everyone in the house is asleep by 10 o'clock. Yeah. And me, I'm sitting there on the couch. I wait till midnight. I'll actually miss watching Dick Clark's New Year's special with Ryan Seacrest. That's like my go-to thing. Like every year, I never miss a midnight. I never miss a midnight kiss on New Year's Eve. I do it every year. Never miss it.
New Year's Day, I'm cooking something, but I will be, having a drink by like noon, 1 o'clock, watching football, things like that. But yeah, I'm usually out by like 9 o'clock.
Such a slacker. Such a slacker.
Well, I'm also up like at 4 a.m. every day.
That's true. That's true. That is very true. I mean, I'm 6:30, but yeah, I get you. Look, guys, tomorrow, Mark Moschatelli will be on the show with me. We'll do our Eagles Cowboys preview and prediction. We'll learn some things about today's practice. We'll hear from the team. We'll get a real practice report today versus a fake one. So we'll go into that. Tomorrow, I want to talk with Mark about a couple different things, but that's the main thing. He's very adamant about his MLB Hall of Fame ballot that he put out. So we'll probably touch on that a little bit yet tomorrow. And he went to the Lane Johnson, Rob Motti, I forget what it was called now, the mental health speaking engagement that he did about 2 weeks ago. And I saw some clips from that speaking engagement of Lane Johnson, Rob Motti. So I can't wait to pick Mark's brain about that as well, because I know Mark's had a rough 2024. So it'll be very interesting to hear from him on that. Plus, Mark and I always fight over something, always. So one more show. Tomorrow's the last show of 2024 because, yes, I do leave on a cruise. So then we'll be off for a week for the cruise and then back in 2025. Guys, let's make sure we're watching all of his content here, Deebs, all his shorts, all his videos. And, guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. As we always say, go Birds and bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.